students go numb at the end of the day as the bell rings. They bolt out the doors and into their cars. A traffic jam is a glaring understatement, and numerous accidents have occurred due to the inattentiveness and inexperience of teen drivers. Another aspect of fairness concerns the pocketbooks of parents and teens. Insurance rates are considerably higher for new teen drivers than adults, according to State Farm Insurance. At age 16, college is approaching quickly for many kids. Having an extra year of adding money to the college fund instead of paying for insurance, this is a fair opportunity for teens and parents. The four-way test now asks, will these new restrictions build goodwill and better friendships? Yes. Driving experience and goodwill almost intertwine. It's sort of a reflex to just assume trouble when a teen sits behind the wheel. I automatically feel frazzled when I drive through my school parking lot with the herd of kids twirling their keys. By the driving guidelines changing, a small amount of the tension will be broken on the roads. The knowledge of extra experience gained by teen drivers will help to put all anxious drivers' minds at ease. Exasperation of hurried drivers and road rage may even become a little less prevalent. A generation gap may close. More goodwill can be recognized between adults and teens if the driving guidelines raise the minimum driving age. Teens will be more mature mentally and physically and will have more of an ability to perform proper, safe driving technique on the road. Adults may start to feel more comfortable at the prospect of sharing the road with teenagers who are closer to age 20 than age 13. Friendships can be strengthened. I would be more inclined to accept a ride from an experienced friend rather than taking my own car. This goes both ways. Friends should not let friends drive without experience. My parents, for one, and I'm sure parents all over, have a bit of apprehension knowing that their pride and joy is in a car at the mercy of another teenager. By the new driving regulations being established, parents will be more at ease and more willing to let their children and their friends cruise around on the roads. Teens will be more mature and have more driving experience that will increase safety by less aggressive driving. Goodwill and friendships can definitely be established by the new driving regulations and may only be subtly realized, but absolutely make a difference. Lastly, the four-way test asks if the new driving restrictions for teens are beneficial to all concerned. Absolutely. Safety is always the most important thing. Lives are on the line as even a mature and responsible teen hops behind the wheel. They need to make quick decisions and stay especially alert to his or her surroundings. Although, up to this point, everyone has learned to drive around the same age, it is hypothesized that the decision-making center of the brain is not fully mature until around age 25. Alcohol laws and tobacco laws all take this into consideration. Why not the driving law? Driving experience is the most valuable tool to safer and more meticulous driving. Practice makes perfect. The new age and restriction regulations are beneficial by taking the safety and well-being into account of all drivers. After applying the four-way test to analyze this topic, I have come to the conclusion to be in favor of the new driving regulations. This is the truth. It's a reality that is fair to all concerned. Good friendships can thrive on the simple act of not turning each other into pretzels around a tree trunk, and this is beneficial to the safety and well-being of all concerned. Hopefully, teens will feel empowered and confident when they know that the privilege to drive has been well earned. Thank you.
Amidst the rough and tumble of life, we're often told to look out for number one. Keep yourself safe, achieve great things. However, among our daily struggle to be the best we can be, we seem to forget a fundamental part of being the best person, friend, and partner we can be: the power of listening. Many people underestimate it, that is, if they give any thought to it at all. But yet everyone appreciates it when someone comes to them and gives them the simple gift of just listening to them. I went to Australia this past summer to experience the Australian school system, but my time spent getting to know my relatives there was what made the biggest impression on me. I spoke to many people who I'd never really gotten the chance to know, and therefore I spent much of my time asking them questions about their lives. I've always been half Australian, but now, due to my trip, I actually understand the other half myself. Is it the truth? Exchanging stories with other people, listening to them, learning from what they tell you, and in the end, developing a bond with others is one of the most important truths I know. While in Australia, I spent time with my cousin and aunt in Sydney. However, my cousin had been sick with a chronic illness for almost 10 years, and her youth had vanished before our eyes. My cousin was often miserable during my stay. However, she soon discovered what the two of us actually had in common, such as being a vegetarian in a meat-eating world, and she delighted in telling me stories of her youthful adventures. I learned more about who she was as a person than I'd ever known. She's 22 years older than me, but soon we found ourselves enjoying each other's company. She loved having someone to tell all her stories to, and the memory of how her face lit up as she reminisced is something I can only count as a truth. Is it fair to all concerned? The only people concerned in the exchange of stories are the speaker and the listener. I know personally how it feels to learn and gain from others' stories, and I also know how it is to share a part of yourself with another and to feel that someone does care, someone is listening. In neither position does one lose, but rather wins. I stayed for 2 weeks in the country of Eastern Australia and stayed with another aunt and cousin. My aunt told me stories of my Uncle John, who died when I was 3. I never really knew anything about him, and now I have the opportunity to gain insight into his life through my aunt's memories. She had the chance to share stories of a loved one who has been dead 14 years, and I had the chance to listen and to learn. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Throughout our lives, we will face highs and lows, and ideally, we will have someone to share both our successes and our failures. When someone listens to what you want to share, you gain peace of mind and develop a closer bond with your chosen confidant. However, you are not the only one who benefits. The one who listens has a chance to gain and to learn from what he or she has been told and apply it to his own life, as well as the opportunity to, in turn, tell some of his own stories. Therefore, he benefits as well. I stayed for 3 weeks in the suburbs of Brisbane and was greeted by an onslaught of relatives I hardly knew. However, my great-aunt Val, the matriarch of them all, had the most stories to tell. She loved having the chance to tell tales of her 13 children. The story she told most often was of her son, who died as an infant. Her tremendous sorrow in that experience has obviously been eased in her telling of it. For every time she retells that story, she finds a bit more closure within herself. During my aunt's telling of this story, I listened silently to her memories. In the powerful sadness within the story, I began to understand the true sorrows that occur in life and to save any sadness I may have for those instances that truly matter. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? The best friends I've gained in my life are the ones I've felt most comfortable confiding in. But as much as I've enjoyed sharing parts of myself with them, I've rejoiced more in hearing their own stories and to know how they are feeling. A friendship is a powerful connection and is one that cannot be built without listening to and understanding one another. Before my trip to Australia, I attended my first funeral. My grandmother died as a victim of Alzheimer's disease on January 28, 2010. At her funeral, my grandfather spoke to the congregation of my grandmother's greatest gift, her ability to listen. My grandfather had witnessed my grandmother listen silently to others as they told all they needed to tell and how it benefited them. And through my grandmother, he learned how to be a better listener. For my grandfather and grandmother, the power of listening helped to establish a bond, a love, and a marriage. We cannot thrive without our parents, our friends, our mentors, our peers, lending an ear and saying, yes, here I am, I'm here to listen to what you want to say. If no one ever does that for us, we will never establish true human bonds and realize that, yes, we are important too. Often we are so wrapped up in the importance of our own voice being heard that we often fail to see the importance of listening to others. Everyone has the same need to be heard, and yet we do not always realize that when we speak. As humans, we have many powerful abilities. We have the power to love, we have the power to grow, we have the power to change, and we have the power to listen. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Rotary Club. Imagine being face to face with your enemy who has constantly threatened and teased you for as long as you can remember. A crowd of unfamiliar faces stands around you in a circle. You even notice your friends. They are all taunting the same haunting words. Fight, fight, fight. You've seen it in the movies, but never really believed bullying would happen to you. Well, newsflash. Those movies were inspired by true events, and you're about to witness it firsthand. It is the truth. Bullying is a severe problem all across America. It's happening right now, even as I speak. Someone could be committing suicide due to a threat, or just crying in their room because someone teased them at school. People are bullied due to their stereotypes, physical appearance, personalities, sexuality, or even skin color. It's not only face-to-face now. Cyberbullying has taken a toll on the lives of many teenagers as well. With the technology today, you can hurt or kill someone by sending a text message or a nasty Facebook message. There is a popular commercial on MTV that is spreading the awareness of cyberbullying. A young teenage boy is at a tattoo parlor with taunting words tattooed all over his chest, arms, and back. He tells the tattoo artist they are doing worthless next on his back. The point of the commercial is the hurt of digital harassment can last forever. There is a thin line between words and wounds. It's one of my favorite commercials because it really states the point of bullying and harassment and how much of a problem it is today. The problem is so severe that suicide is now considered the easy way out and the escape from the taunts and words victims face every day from bullies. In 1999, 20% of the American high school population had attempted or committed suicide due to bullying. Now, in 2010, according to CNN.com, the percentage has increased to more than 50%. It's hard to imagine that a simple word or a push in the hallway can lead to lives lost. You never know what a person is going through or how many times they have heard that taunting word or been pushed. So you could be the one to push them over the edge. A question we all must wonder about: is bullying fair to all concerned? In the process of bullying, the victim is hurt, can be murdered, or threatened. They may commit suicide or completely shut themselves out to social life. It all depends on how violent the bullying is. The bully himself or herself usually has problems of their own, which has led them to this violent behavior. Troubles at home, depression problems, sexual harassment or abuse, or sometimes even mental health. So I'll ask you, is it fair? Is it fair when a teenager, or anyone for that matter, is being hurt or physically or emotionally? Is it fair when someone is having problems at home and they are being completely ignored? Is it fair for a high school student to become completely antisocial just because they are scared? Should problems like this be ignored? Different people have different opinions, make different laws, and may have better judgment. Everyone has been bullied at least once in their lifetime, even if it was just a name that stuck throughout high school. It may have not been to the extreme of suicide or attempt, but it could hurt your feelings to the point where you know how it feels for teenagers now to be hurt like this. I myself have had many problems with bullies since I was 12 years old. In 7th grade, I was made fun of because I had really bad acne. I was called pimple face, pimple popper, and many other things. I was really ashamed of it. I would go home crying and couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Sometimes I hear students at my school making fun of people who have acne problems, and I look back and remember how hard it was. In my first year of high school, I ran with the wrong crowd. They did drugs, drank alcohol, and could be found at every party. I wasn't that type of person, and they tried to change me. They pressured me, pushed me around, and made me feel bad about myself all the time. After that, they did everything they could to hurt me. They threatened me over text message and Facebook. They stalked me in the hallways, following me, saying threatening words and taunting names. They spread rumors about me. I was becoming depressed and antisocial. I didn't want to go to school. I was scared. I finally told my grandma, and she went to school to talk to the principal. After that, things calmed down. But to this day, I'm still scared of going to school because of them. The threats they made still linger around the halls, and the rumors continue to haunt me. Does bullying build goodwill and better friendships? Bullying actually kills off friendships because the bullying is hurting and scaring students, and the victim is becoming depressed and antisocial. You cannot build friendships with someone by hurting them, and you cannot scare someone into liking you. Some bullies have friends they have scared into liking them, but the fact is they are fake friends, and in the end, they won't be there. You have to be a friend in order to gain a friend, and a bully is not a friend. The problem bullying arouses is definitely not beneficial to either the bully or the victim. Each may have depression problems, suicidal thoughts and actions, and don't know what to do to fix them. A bully tries to fix their emotional problems by taking them out on another pupil, who then becomes emotionally hurt and fixated on suicide or terrified thoughts as well. It's a health risk and a danger. Sometimes it is ignored, and sometimes the problem is resolved, and sometimes there is nothing you can do. Bully side, a side about cases of children and young people who have committed suicide and lost their lives due to bullying, was a big surprise to me. Bullying is extremely serious, and some people really don't see that. It's amazing how far a person will go to make another feel physically or emotionally hurt. June 2001, Nicola Raphael, 15 years old, took an extreme overdose of painkillers after being taunted at school for some time. Main target was her style of dress, which was gothic, and she was branded as the Freak. October 2002, Greg Doucette, 15 years old, tormented for having bad acne, hanged himself in the basement of his home. April 2005, Sean Noonan, 14 years old, hangs himself after a long period of bullying, including being headbutted, thrown in a ditch, having an earring pulled out, and an incident recorded on cell phones. Deaths of innocent lives, bullies sentenced to life in prison, constant emotional pain, physical abuse, and it's all because of a little teasing. A bully starts out meaning to do no harm, and then the person is dead. The rate of people dying due to conflicts of bullying is increasing and becoming a serious problem. Are we ever going to find the solution? Bully side, death of a playmate. I shall remember forever and will never forget. Monday, my money was taken. Tuesday, names called. Wednesday, my uniform torn. Thursday, my body was pouring with blood. Friday, it's ended. Saturday, freedom. It's a war we have started, a war with battles and blood, guns, knives, fists, but words will shatter the heart. But no one can find the peace, so it's everlasting. It's a war with no solution because so many battles are left untold. It will be beneficial to all concerned if we spread the awareness, make it known. Don't hide the pain of abuse and taunts. Let it be known that bullying is out there and the war is going on.
I do my own laundry. That's a good thing because it saves my mom time and it gives me appreciation for clean clothes. This is how I usually do it. I'll wake up and I sort my clothes. But then I do other stuff till about 10 o'clock at night. But then I tell myself I'm gonna wake up early and I'm gonna get it done tomorrow. And the next day the same thing happens, and this process continues until I run out of clothes fit for wearing in public. I know laundry might seem something strange to start off on, but think about it this way. I'm given a responsibility, in this case, my laundry, and I have a time frame for completing it. So I start out strong. Ready? I'm gonna fold my socks. I'm gonna sort those clothes. But then I get distracted, and I wind up suffering for it. When I delay the laundry, it just means I'm gonna wear a sweatshirt with lounge pants all day. But in real life, my consequences could be a lot worse. I obviously have a problem with procrastinating. Since I'm not one who likes to be wrong, or at least wrong by myself, I decided to ask my friends if they thought they did it too. After some research and some responses, I found that 75% of the people I asked say they do indeed procrastinate or have at one time. The remaining quarter will say they haven't found time to reply yet. So apparently procrastinating is an enemy of everyone. Without further ado, I propose this. Let's put an end to procrastination. With some effort, we can. And tonight I'll tell you how and why we should. Calvin, of Calvin and Hobbes fame, once said, "I should be doing my homework right now."